Good afternoon. Welcome to OptionsTender. I am on vacation. We're at our my in-laws' house, and so I'm just doing a quick video on my laptop. And so the sound is probably going to be a little bit different, but I just want to give you a different look at what I think is happening with the market. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you when and where and all the different things that I do all the time. I just want to give you one big example of what happens at tops and why I think this one is playing out and it will resolve to the downside. So we're going to take a look at SPY, QQQ, and SMH on the daily time frame. And I'm just going to show you traditional technical analysis of a bearish rising wedge and what happens when they start diverging. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and release this video. The market, I think, closes at 1 or 1:30 p.m. today, Eastern Standard Time, and I usually do these intraday, these videos. We have an early day anyway, so I'll just release it out to the public. And don't forget to like and to subscribe to the video. So here we have this bearish rising wedge. Okay, so we had a top here around 7:11, we'll call it 7:11, at 7:16, something like that. And we had a correction, and since then we formed another bearish rising wedge. Okay, so this is what's happening right now. We are back at this trend line from this top here, top here, top here, throw over, which resulted in a large decline. Top here, and we're back at that top right now. Okay, so here's the wedge we're talking about. Now we're going to look back to, and I saw somebody tweeted this on X, and so I saw they didn't show the comparison, but they showed 2018, the wedge here. And so we did have a decline and a bearish rising wedge from this point. And there's a reason why I only drew it from right here. Okay, so I would say we have a top here, very similar to that July 16th that I was talking about. This is June 12th. Okay, had a decline and now formed a bearish rising wedge. Okay, so there's definitely divergences on the multiple time frames. You can see the divergences play out. You have a top here, negative divergence, and it plays out on the daily time frame. And so what I want to do is compare, and you see the results after that, a sharp decline. And we'll kind of measure those, so we'll flip back and forth. But that was 2018. I remember being actually at my in-laws as well here during this just massive crash, right, in December. All right, so very bearish going into December, and then I just never looked back from that point. Okay, so I'm not necessarily looking for a correction like this. It could be something else. It doesn't really matter. What I'm looking for, I've told you in the past. And so let's go ahead and go to the Qs, and let's look for June 12th. Okay, so here's our top here that we had. And then we had that big decline, and we're forming this bearish rising wedge here as well. Okay, and then we're diverging right now from the market as well. So we have a high here and then a lower high, while SPY has a higher than a higher high. So that's a divergence in itself. But let's go back to 2018 and June 12th. Okay, so we have our top here, and that's when we started forming this wedge. And so we made a new high in the Qs. We've made a new high in SPY and forming these wedges. Kept back testing on this wedge and then fell. Okay, big sharp move after that. So we created a top here. This top was 612. we had a 830, so August, and then retested that high, got a double top, and resulted in a move downwards. Okay, so 830, 10-1 and 830. Let's go back to SPY real quick. We had, here's 830, and then made a new high. There's 920, and here's 10. So it made a new high in SPY, but made a lower high in the Qs, and then retested for a double top. All right, now this is the main part here, SMH. SMH had the high way back here at 711, while SPY and QQQ made a new high, all-time high. This one made a bear flag, bearish rising wedge. Same situation, but much, much weaker. Okay? So back here was our high. We made another high in October here, and then a lower high, and then broke down. You could even, if you're drawing a triangle, show that as a fake break, okay? We're back into the moving averages and making a lower high as well. Now take that and look back here. 2018, we made our high way back in March, and since then just made lower highs. So while the rest of the market formed a wedge, you can argue that this one formed a triangle. Okay? And our top here, we said 612. We made a lower high in that same area compared to here. And while the market made new highs, SMH did not. Here's our lower high, and we can compare October. So October, we'll call it October 1st or 2nd, is when we started to make our big move to the downside. Again, another lower high. Okay? So you see this wedge here, it ended up forming a flag. And if we just want to be consistent with the indices, we'll just, this one formed a triangle here, or a bear flag. Initial move down, bear flag, and then continued to drop. So again, June, October. And I could put all these on the same screen. It would just be all crunched up, and I just really want you to get the big visual of it. June, October. Right when the semiconductors fell, the Qs fell with it. One more time. June, October, and then fell. Okay, so as little as next week, falling out of that wedge. You saw it riding the bottom of that wedge. Right now we're trying to, maybe we make it up to the top here. But when this falls, made new highs here. Today we're making a new high. Uh-oh. Not going anywhere. SMH. I do think if we make a lower high here and continue to break down, that's when our next move is going to be pretty violent. And I don't know if this is going to go any higher, maybe up to here. It's possible we make it all the way up to here if NVIDIA wants to push a little bit higher. But as soon as we make it another lower high, you better believe this next move is going to be pretty aggressive. This flag already broke. This flag already broke down. We're just back testing and waiting for everything else. Okay, Q's already lower high. We'll see when this starts to turn. break the wedge, this move is going to be pretty violent. All right. And so what we want to do is look back here. So how violent was that move? After forming this wedge and bearish divergence, from this low here to, we'll call it the October. We're going to focus on October and then that next low. That move took about 26 days. That's 19 trading days, 19 bars. That was a violent 11.5% move in less than a month. Okay. Qs. On the Qs, you know, this was the low here for SPY, even though we, you know, you had a flat pattern, a running flat there. Qs from October high there, 27 days, almost 15% in less than a month. That's how violent a move is. And this was the first move. The second move was much more violent. So when this happens, it's going to happen quick. It's going to happen sharp. SMH to this low here. October, 27 days, 20%. It's a 20% move in less than a month. All right, so you get the idea. This is going to be a very sharp move. And what you can notice with this one is SMH started to gain a little bit of relative strength by the end of this move. This was not as sharp as SPY and QQQ, and then led the market to the upside. SMH is a leader. SMH is going to lead it to the downside. Very violent move, 20%. And then it's going to lead to the upside. Much more relative strength, okay? That's what we're looking for. When this happens, it's going to happen quick. And people aren't going to know what to do with it. So could it be we test the bottom of this trend? There's 21 days. That's less than a month there. It's about 17 bars. It's only 6%. It's just that's half of the move. If this is to be any comparison, that's half the move in just a little bit less time. I do have some. Let's go to the Elliott wave, and let's say we make it all the way down to 544 by the end of December. Just giving you some little bit of stats here. That's only 10%. That's still less. In 25 days, that's 19 bars. That's just about the same comparison. Somebody laughed at me on YouTube in the comments and said, "You really think SPY is going to make it down there? Are you kidding me? That's less than the move in 2018 after forming a bearish rising wedge diverging from SMH. Do I think it's going to go down there? I don't know. But it sure has the potential to. Okay? QQQ. If we draw this move here down to about the 62%, clean this up a bit, 62% retracement of just this wedge, at about, let's say, about 12, but into December there, to the top here, and I should even make more of a comparison to right here, because there we go, comparison here. It's 10%. It did 15% in for the other 2018 move. What if we made it down to 786? From the same date, since we're making all-time highs, that's more like it. That's 13%. That's 26 bars. I'm giving it way more time than I probably need to. That's a massive move in less than, if I move it over less than 30 days, 13% move. It did 15%, almost 15% in the in 2018. SMH, from the bottom of the wedge to the highs, 887. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt here. 887 at about the end of December compared to this high. It's only 15%. We did 20% in 2018. From the highs here, about 17%. Okay, we're going to test the lows likely, bounce, and get a lower low at that. And you know, I think it's going to go further than that, but 18% would be more comparable if we test the lows to what happened in 2018. All right, that's all I'm going to get at, you guys. SPY on the 65. So we talked about this in yesterday's video. After playing out this move, this correction, and we're getting our next move up here, we already have a 3-peak right now, a 3-peak bearish divergence. Do you think it's going to turn pretty soon? I'll let you determine that. Also, if you're looking at structure, for this being, if this is an ABC for the ending diagonal, then it's a zigzag. You have a 5, 3, 5. And so you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. So speculation, but you can count this to be completed. All right. VIX made a new low. We talked about that. And now we have what we can form as a wedge. New positive divergence as of today. What do you think is going to happen next week? I'll let you determine. All right, that's what I got for you. Hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for joining us here at OptionsTender. Let me get this off the screen. It's kind of hard to do when you don't have multiple screens. Thanks everybody in the Discord. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you in the next video.